I think I have always known that I would be a teacher from a very young age. I started teaching Sunday school at 7, to those little 5-year-olds. Teaching for me was always just who I am and what I do.
Becoming a proficient reader begins long before 3rd grade, which is why we need an increased focus on kindergarten through 2nd grade. It's time to shine a light on the exceptional educators who are making sure that our youngest students get the opportunities they deserve.
I just knew that when I made it to Duncanville that I had made it where I was supposed to make an impact and where I was supposed to affect children. And so becoming a teacher and then landing in Duncanville for me was the start of something really, really incredible. In this position in particular, there is always something different to do from day to day. So we work very primarily with TEA and the expectations from House Bill 3 regarding Texas Reading Academies. But along with that, we have the privilege and the pleasure of coaching and working with teachers on how best to instruct with reading. We work with principals about how to monitor and closely pay attention to what it is that teachers are doing to make sure that they're making the right moves for students. And then we also provide professional development and training about how teachers can move from a place of maybe confusion or frustration, especially where reading instruction is concerned, into a place where they feel like they understand the depth and the rigor that has to be attained when trying to teach reading. The science of reading for me is not new. I have known about the science of reading since Dr. Patricia East at Pensacola Christian College taught my teaching reading course. And Dr. East was a traditionalist at best. She believed, and the curriculum that we used in school believed, that students must be taught explicit and systematic phonics in order for them to ever be proficient readers. I always knew that if students were struggling, then we had to get back to phonics. The current vibe that's coming from the science of teaching reading is very exciting. If people will latch onto this and will understand and get behind the philosophy of every child learns differently, but most children can learn how to read proficiently, then I think that's really exciting for the future of education. I think for a very long time, there has been a misconception that if you're quiet and if you listen to your teacher and if you sit and look and pay attention, you will learn how to read. And while for some students that is true because of their brain makeup, that is not the case for every child. And what the science of teaching reading is trying to do and is helping people do is to understand the way in which the brain learns so that every student can be a successful reader. The reason that it's so important for students to become proficient readers by K2 is because education shifts after 2nd grade. I wish I could tell you that for the entirety of students' educational careers, if they are learning to read, that is not a problem. But the truth be told, that if they are not proficient readers by the time they leave 2nd grade, education shifts. We shift from teaching students how to read in grades K1 and 2 to then expecting them to know how to read in grades 3 and up, and then to be able to do something with that knowledge, to be able to answer questions, to be able to write responses, to be able to discuss academic things. And if you can't read by the time you're in 3rd grade, then you're already behind. So we have 8-year-olds that are already behind. And without the science of teaching reading, without understanding how it is that students learn how to read, and then giving them what it is that they need, we are creating students that are behind from the beginning. And so if in districts we do not make a proclamation that we are going to do what is right for students, and that means that we are going to get them to understand how to read the words on the page, we'll never get ahead. Without committing to this process and this pathway toward reading development, we will continue as a state to see a decline in education that we are trying so desperately to reverse. It has to happen through this pathway. Science of teaching reading can make all the difference in the world as long as we do the things that we know we need to do.